Hi everyone, you can see on your title slide my name is DRYAN and I'm going to be presenting Chapter 18, the eHealth chapter, for our COMS 532 class here at Liberty University Online. Now eHealth affects everyone, and even though it's one of the smallest chapters in our textbook, it's actually one of the fastest growing areas of communications technology. So I look forward to presenting this chapter with you. Next slide please. Okay, so basically there's three benefits of eHealth technology. The first benefit is that it empowers individuals to play a larger role in managing their own health. The second thing is that it allows patients access to their own electronic health record. And the third benefit, of course, is that it prevents individuals to take more control of their own health through personalized health plans and prevention programs. Okay, slide 3 please. Alright, so to understand the chapter, there's basically 5 definitions that we have to be familiar with. The first one is eHealth itself, and that of course is just the use of electronic information and communication technologies in the field of healthcare. The second thing is an acronym, EHR, that stands for Electronic Health Record, and of course that is exactly what it says, the electronic version of a health record. The third thing is what we call eHealth, and this is basically mobile health. Using these mobile technology, like your smartphone right here, for health communication and delivery of health information. The fourth term is health e-games, and that's basically talking about electronic games used to promote health, wellness, and physical fitness. And the final term that we need to be familiar with is a new one for me. It's called gamification, and that's basically using game technology to encourage people to use these products and services that deal with healthcare. Okay, next slide please. A little background on technology in the healthcare industry. The first records of healthcare communication were cave paintings in France and in Egypt thousands and thousands of years ago. Now in the 19th century, of course, we're a little more familiar with medical knowledge being spread through books and magazines, papers, and some medical photography. Computers entered the world basically in the 1970s, and as a result, computers started to be used in healthcare about that time, mostly for record-keeping purposes. And then, of course, about 1995, with the widespread use and invention, per se, of the Internet, it wasn't long after that when the healthcare industry got on board and started using the Internet for health and wellness programs as well. Now, a couple of important statistics. Today, 62% of smartphone users have looked up health or medical information on their handheld device. And 58% of the people who own smartphones have downloaded at least one health or wellness application to that phone. Next slide, please. Okay, the specific areas of eHealth technology that we're going to talk about during this presentation are the apps, telemedicine, social media, health games, wearables, and robotics. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with apps. Next slide, please. Okay, apps are mobile-based technology on our smartphones. More than 6.1 billion people are expected to use these type of apps by the year 2021. Now, there already are a lot of health and fitness apps out there. In fact, their use has tripled since 2009. It's actually estimated that there are over 165,000 healthcare apps available on various app stores, throughout the internet. And of course, these apps are multiple functions. They'll monitor your physical activity and monitor your health rhythm, things like that, your heart. And the success from these mobile apps comes from engagement via gamification, basically turning things into a game. Next slide, please. The next area we're going to talk briefly about is telemedicine. The first remote surgery actually took place not too long ago in 2001. Now, eHealth technology and the Internet allows healthcare providers and specialists to see patients remotely at various places around the country and even around the world. Now, this use of telemedicine saves a whole lot of money. In fact, it's even estimated that perhaps the savings could be more than $6 billion each year. Now, this technology isn't all positive. There's always a couple of negatives that come with this. The first one is less human interaction. You don't actually get to sit in the doctor's office with the doctor. You're watching that individual on a monitor. And then, of course, pretty much any new technology, there are always concerns about patient privacy. Next slide, please. All right, the third area we're going to talk about when it comes to eHealth is social media. And believe it or not, hospitals, doctors, healthcare providers, they are already using social media. They have been for quite a while. Now, why are they doing this? Well, to reach their target audience. 2/3 of Americans have at least one social media account, right? So to reach those people, healthcare providers are using that technology. One interesting thing that I found in the chapter is the level of trust associated with social media. Believe it or not, it's there. In fact, younger generations actually embrace the technology and trust social media more than the older generations. And of course, there is a negative associated with using social media. Once again, limited internet connectivity, cell service, and things like that. And again, we have the patient privacy issues that must be addressed. Okay, next slide. Health e-games. That's the next area we're going to talk about. And our textbook breaks those games down into 4 categories. The first one is what we call exergames, and that's games that involve physical movement and interactivity, right? The handheld devices actually track movement and things like that. Health and nutrition is the second area, and these games are used in basically planning your workout or weight management, planning your meals. The third area for these games is brain fitness. Meant to improve your cognitive thinking. Has you putting your brain to work on those specific games. And the fourth and final area of these healthy games is what we call condition management, and it uses the game technology to manage chronic conditions, maybe like diabetes, asthma, or cancer. Next slide, please. Wearables. All right, now this was a fascinating section of our textbook. We all basically probably have seen these, the pedometers or wristbands that people wear to count their steps. Maybe they're having a competition with the rest of the folks in the office. A lot of folks are using smartwatches as well. The Apple Watch is very popular. Monitors biometrics and things like that. One interesting thing that I read in the chapter that I'd never heard about was the technology known as the Google Lens. And to me that's absolutely fascinating. And basically it's a contact lens that diabetic patients can use, and they basically put it in their eye, and it will monitor glucose levels and tears to help keep their diabetes under control. Another area of the wearables is the clothing, and we have garment manufacturers actually making clothes with built-in sensors, and those sensors will track movement and biometrics and things like that. And the fifth and final area that our textbook talks about for wearables is what they call dermal devices. And these are extremely accurate because these aren't in the garments, these are actually attached to the skin, like dermal tattoos and things like that. And they provide the most accurate readings because, again, they are attached directly to the skin. Okay, next slide, please. Slide 11. Robotics. That's our final area of eHealth technology that we're going to talk about today. Now, you may have seen these in use at a hospital, if you've been to one recently, or maybe at least on television. But the healthcare industry is using robots in a variety of different ways. Sometimes they're delivering food or laundry, maybe lab results or things like that. They're also used in cleaning and disinfecting, helping to keep a sanitary environment in our healthcare facilities. And they're also being used to fill prescriptions, believe it or not. Research has showed that robotic pharmacists actually make less mistakes than human pharmacists. And of course, that is very important in healthcare. Okay, next slide, please. Slide number 12. So, who benefits from this new technology and eHealth? Well, a lot of folks, right? So it should be pretty obvious that patients in rural areas of the United States or even in developing countries can benefit from this technology because they have access to healthcare providers through the use of technology. But it's also important to remember that the average citizen now has access to more preventative health programs, mobile apps and things that they can download on their smartphones and help manage their conditions and help improve their overall level of health and physical fitness. Now, social media has also made healthcare kind of more social and more an open topic of conversation. So eHealth in that area of social media is really helping people to address some healthcare issues and get rid of a lot of the negative stigmas associated with some conditions, right? And finally, it's important to remember that everyone is basically going to benefit from eHealth and this new communications technology because it's going to reduce overall healthcare costs, and that's important to everyone. All right? Okay, but of course, like with any technology, there are always some concerns. Most of these revolve around patient and personal identifiable information, right? So, of course, improvements need to be made to ensure our electronic health records and information stored on apps and websites are secure. And healthcare providers, doctors, hospitals, they're always going to be concerned about patient privacy and keeping those records secure. All right, slide 14 is just our reference for Chapter 18. Campbell wrote this chapter in our textbook, which I found to be pretty fascinating for this particular class. I hope you've enjoyed my presentation, so let's go ahead and get the discussion started with a couple of questions. Question 1, what types of eHealth technology are you currently using, and has the use of this technology improved your overall health or level of fitness? And question number 2, what type of eHealth technology or app would you like to see developed or improved? I look forward to reading your answers, and thanks for watching my presentation.